So Austin, you work, play, live, build in Arcadia. And why did you choose Arcadia?
Good question. So yeah, everything, my kids go to school in Arcadia, I live in Arcadia, my office is in Arcadia, we work here, I go to the same grocery stores as everybody else. We're in the 5th largest city in the country, but Arcadia has that Mayberry small town, everyone knows everyone, you're always, a reference is 1 phone call, 2 phone calls away. I like the grass, the citrus, the irrigation, just the whole vibe of the neighborhood, and then the architecture, the post-war ranch homes.
And that's really the signature of Rafterhouse, like the Arcadia look. Okay.
Yeah, and it, we were kind of born out of the fix and flip space when trustee sales were in distress in the marketplace, and REOs and short sales. When all that was so prevalent, that's kind of where we got our start. It was just pre-Rafterhouse. And the concept with Rafterhouse was to just be a little more intentional and more geographically focused. And rather than driving all over town looking to make a buck on anything with a roof over its head, we kind of focused more on a neighborhood.
So with being in Arcadia, what are your price points that you're currently building?
So I would say right now, generally speaking, the homes that we're renovating or building, whether it's a client or a spec, property value not less than roughly $1 million.
Okay.
And up to 3 and 4.
What are you seeing with land acquisition costs, labor, materials, and making the money you need to make for your family and for your business?
Yeah.
How's that changed?
It's changed very quickly, and it's become quite a challenge. So in Arcadia, over the past 3-4 years, there's just been so much demand. And so each comp has gone, over top of the next one. And so we've seen pricing quickly appreciate and climb back up. So as those resale homes continue to sell for more and more, we're finding the land acquisition, whether it's generally it's a old distressed house on the lot, but that price is starting to climb too. So the acquisition's going up, the resale's going up. The third dynamic that's kind of getting thrown in there is increased labor and material costs. Mm-hmm. So we're at a huge shortage of labor in the valley. That definitely trickles into the micro Arcadia market. And then with material costs going up, tariffs, natural disasters, everything going on. Every time I turn around, it's, I'm getting a new letter from a vendor supplier saying, hey, cost of this one up. And it's everything. It's cost of lumber and roofing materials and electric, wiring, anything involving metals right now. So the hard thing with that is I'm not seeing resale going up like it was. Resale's starting to slow down. Everybody and their brother thinks their teardown's $1.5 million. Mm-hmm. And then I'm compounded with costs that continue to go up. So on my end, it's a lot of price compression and margin compression, and it's getting a little bit harder to kind of work within that space. 3, 4, 5 years ago, there was just a lot more runway. Now,
okay.
Now you're trying to get the plane off the ground, and that runway is about half the distance it was.
What square footage do you see that the market really wants, in that if they're spending $2 to $4 million or $5 million, what square footage and who's that buyer?
So we're seeing more and more people that, baby boomers, empty nesters, they've lived in Arcadia proper all their lives. They're never going to move south of the river. They're always going to stay in proper, and they want, they've had the half acre, they've been on all the fancy blocks in the neighborhood, they've had the big house, but now it's a little bit more lifestyle based. They want that more manageable house, manageable lot size, lock and leave type lifestyle because they own multiple homes. And so we're starting to see people moving into that space of roughly 36 to 4,200 foot homes.
So more of a jewel box instead of like a showpiece.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So along those lines, I know that you're doing renovations outside of Arcadia. In Arcadia as well. Yep. But so the properties that you're talking about, with maybe they're downsizing and they're moving into Arcadia, and now there's all these homes that are possibly available that are not jewel boxes, that are not the Arcadia lifestyle, but are maybe in outside neighborhoods like Biltmore, PV, older, maybe 90s, 80s. Mm-hmm. What do you do with those?
Yeah. So for every person that's looking for a $2 to $4 million, 4,000 foot home, square foot home, very well built, high level of construction, Outside of Arcadia, there's just as many people that still want that 6,000 foot house in Paradise Valley on the acre lot. The interesting dynamic we're starting to see is people that are now, is price per foot of new construction and land has increased so much, not everybody wants to be $600-700 a foot all in. And so what we're starting to see is the tweeners are the homes that have suffered so much in the past 3 or 4 years because everybody's wanted new. Those tweeners have really kind of fizzled out in pricing. And so we're seeing people now going back into Arcadia proper or Biltmore, Paradise Valley, and picking up that tweener at $300 a foot, $325 a foot in there. And especially in PV, you could pick off 1990s, 2000 built home at $325 a foot and still have a really good runway of room for a full renovation. And
that solves the overabundance of Tuscans.
Yeah.
Turns them into...
It's de-Tuscanifying the neighborhood. One home at a time.
That's a new term.
It's very new. Yeah, so you can go in, if you look at a home built in the 1990s or early 2000s, there's a lot of positives for it. The floor plan is modernized. The ceiling heights are kind of what people are looking for. There's the existence of great rooms. The master closets are large. The master bath. It's completely different from the 50s ranch home where everything's fragmented and tight. So if you pick off a 1990s or 2000 build home somewhere in the area, Paradise Valley or one of the adjacent areas, the plumbing's good. The wiring's good. The insulation is probably good, whereas the 50s ranch home, God only knows what you're going to find. And so people can buy these properties and everything makes sense. The square footage is there, everything makes sense, and you're just working from drywall out.
Okay.
You're saving a ton of money by not having to get into the guts of the home and replumbing it, as an example. That's very unromantic money spent. It's not fun to to change out your waistlines. But in a 50s ranch home, so critical to get rid of the old cast iron plumbing. But in these 90s built homes, the plumbing's good. So your budget's going to go a little bit further. You're not raising ceilings, you're not adding square footage. The window, natural light, everything's great. So you're coming in and just doing cosmetic finishes. So we're starting to see more and more of that is kind of a counterbalance to the increased cost of new construction and land. Is people that are going in and redoing some of these newer homes. So,
given that you love Arcadia, and you've already solved all the Tuscan issues in PV, where do you see the next opportunity for influence, for building, for gain in our community? What area?
Then you start to enter into North Scottsdale. There's some beautiful neighborhoods. Of nice size homes, good size lots, good property value that you can go in and pick up that tweener right now in that neighborhood, and again come in and strip out interior finishes. So I think if you're following the newer construction type model, where again interior ceiling heights are great, the major systems in the home, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, are generally in good shape, insulation generally, roofing generally, everything's good. And so your remodel renovation budget will go a lot further. So if you follow that, 1990s and 2000 build years, it's all heading north.
Okay. And if you had to pick an area outside of Arcadia to replicate or to build upon, where would you go?
So I would, key neighborhoods that I really appreciate, North Central Corridor, of course. It is Arcadia. It's an extension of Arcadia. Same restaurants, same 50s post-war era ranch homes, irrigation, green grass, citrus trees. It goes on and on and on, just different school districts. So love North Central Corridor. I think compared to Arcadia, it looks like a great value. You're really getting the same house at a fraction of the price. So I think Central is an amazing area. I've always been a fan of Arcadia. Obviously, adjacent Biltmore is similar to Arcadia as well. Moving into Paradise Valley, I like Paradise Valley. I think there's intrigue there of bringing some more traditional influence to a desert setting, but getting that balance right. I think a farmhouse might be a little out of place, but I think there's a way to kind of fuse the two stylistically that would be fun on certain lots in certain areas. And
is there anything else that you and your team do in the community that we need to be aware of?
We love being involved in the neighborhood. When we renovated this bungalow, it was kind of in a way a statement to the neighborhood of our, we're invested in the neighborhood. We're not leaving, we're here. We renovated this beautiful house that was really sad and in rough shape, and it needed some life put into it. So I think the commitment we have to the neighborhood, the commitment of building product that is sensible, fits into the neighborhood, is respectful and considerate to neighboring parcels. Aside from that, we do a lot of other charitable things. When we did our open house here, kind of neighborhood grand opening for our office, which by the way, we opened the doors up. So many people have been curious about this building that it just seemed right to say, hey, doors are open, we're all here, come on by. You've been as curious as I was too, so come on in and meet us, see what we've done, and let's chat.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
Politics, let's talk. Sports.
Sports.
Cardinals?
Baseball or football?
Well, oh, good call.
No one expected that out of me.